Hi, everybody. It is the top of the hour. My name is Sharon Malik, and I'm part of the MHC marketing team. And I want to thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Use AI Now, Revolutionize Your Customer Communications. Today, we have two speakers who I will introduce shortly. But first, I just want to share a few housekeeping items. First off, be aware that this webinar is being recorded and attendees will receive a follow-up email with a link to the recording that you can rewatch or share. Secondly, all participants will be muted to prevent background noise. So please type in any questions that you have into the Q&A section and we'll address them at the end. Lastly, you're going to receive a post-webinar survey when we wrap up. So please do let us know how we're doing and use that to request any additional feedback that you have or to request information so that we can follow up with you because we do really appreciate your feedback. Next slide, please. All right, before I introduce our two speakers, I also just want to provide you a quick snapshot of MHC for any of you unfamiliar with us. We are headquartered in Minneapolis. We've been in business for nearly 23 years, and we are proud of our loyal customer base with more than 1,300 customers spanning across more than 50 countries. And we're especially proud that 43% of our customers have worked with us for more than 15 years. As a company, we're a leading provider of intelligent document automation and workflow solutions. And as shown on the top right, we automate the creation of customer communications, statements, notices, policies, claims, and more. But we also use our technology platform to automate and manage documents that support both procure to pay processes and HR processes. And as you can see along the bottom, we're recognized by a variety of esteemed analysts, including Gartner, Aspire, Quadrant, Aragon Research. Most importantly, we're deemed a leader by our own customers in G2 reports and by our valued employees as a top workplace. So now to introduce our speakers today, Jesse Lujan is MHC's head of products. He leads our product strategy and guides his team through the complexities of product development, through transformative change management and solving intricate challenges with impactful, straightforward solutions. His approach is underpinned by the belief in the power of collaboration to achieve exceptional results, leveraging both quantitative insights and qualitative best practices. He crafts successful products that aim to stand at the forefront of the market. Shawn Phillips is our CCM product manager, and he brings over 25 years of tech and customer experience to his role. And he's driven by a simple philosophy that great technology should make everybody's day better, customers and employees alike. His practical hands-on approach helps companies streamline how they talk to their clients, making every message count. Before joining MHC, Shawn was employed at Heart of the Customer, where he worked with Fortune 100 companies to improve how they connect with customers. Everything from reducing pain points to enhancing key moments in the customer journey. So Jesse, Shawn, thank you so much for being here today, and over to you.
All right. So here's what we're going to do today. First, I'm going to do a little overview of some of the challenges around CCM. What are we trying to solve with CCM? Then I'm going to hand it over to Jesse, where he's going to talk about how AI can revolutionize customer communications. Some great ideas, some forward-thinking thoughts on how we're going to do that. And then it's going to come back to me, and I'm going to introduce some of the examples of the things that we've worked on so far, so the starting points. And then I'll let you guys know what's coming up next, what's on our roadmap, things that you can expect to see from us soon. And then we'll end with Q&A. So the CCM challenge. Now, as I talk to my friends, they're like, so what is this CCM thing? And I'm like, well, you know those statements you get in the mail or the letters from the credit card company or whatever it is? Hey, congratulations, you got a new credit card. But also the junk mail that says, here's your credit card offer. All of those are part of CCM. But most importantly, what CCM is about is making sure that we communicate with customers important messages that they will engage with. The challenges with that, though, are that without a CCM solution, employees have a hard time putting all the right things together and getting them out the door. And so it's really frustrating. Employees are doing a lot of manual processes. There's a lot of errors and rework. As you can tell, when humans get involved, there's a lot of times where things just get missed. The copy, the pasting, all those things get missed. And when things get missed, deadlines also get missed. You don't get to the SLAs, and people need their documents. People need their invoices. People need their statements on time so that they can do the things that they need to do. Now, we work with a lot of companies in highly regulated industries. And so it is very important to be very stable and dependable. And so for us, we're able to produce high volumes of documents that have high fidelity, high quality data, and they go to the right place and they have the right messages. And with all of that, go back to what I said in the previous slide. What we do is we deliver customer communications that they need so that they can understand their relationship with your company. And with that understanding, they can engage and be more satisfied. So how do we do this? Our tools are easy to use. And I'll show you an example of that a little later. We produce high volume documents. I'm going to tell you about a company that produces 14 million documents a year. We as a company probably produce almost 150 million, 300 million documents or communications in any given year. We make sure that we take and automate repetitive tasks. And one of the things, so I implemented a CCM system for a really large financial services company. And we started with 14,000 templates. That's a lot of templates. But with our solution, EngageCX, we're able to take all those templates where the data was the same, those terms and conditions, the notices, the privacy notices, etc. Everything where it was the same, we turned them into content fragments so that you go from 14,000 different documents and you can bring them down to just 100 that are specifically tailored to what you need. So it's easier to manage and easier to update. And one of my passionate things about CCM is a lot of people think of CCM as I'm sending out that junk mail, I'm sending out those statements. But communication is two ways. It's telling people what's going on, but also asking, customers and employees and vendors, tell us information so that we can do things for you. And so we have web forms that people can produce so that they can kick off internal processes, applying for loans, updating beneficiaries, etc. Those are all the things that we put together so that people can get the communications in their hand when they need it. Now, here's just a quick example. We have a customer that's been a customer for about 3 years now. They're a financial IT services company up in Canada. Go Canada, something like that. Anyway, they do 14 million documents a year. And a lot of their documents are very highly regulated. So SWIFT forms. So I don't know if you guys are aware of what a SWIFT form is. So SWIFT is a network that allows people to transfer money internationally or between companies. And what they're able to do is create SWIFT forms in as little as 1 second so that the data can go in, it's right, and it gets sent within a second. Also, they have these 30-page documents that they produced that are pretty complex that explain their products and services for new customers and existing customers. Within 3 seconds, those 30-page documents are done. And if you can imagine, if it was taking 30 or 40 seconds, those 14 million documents would be sitting in batch overnight for 16, 18 hours. Instead of that, they get run very, very quickly through the system, and we're able to get that produced for them and out the door in a timely fashion. And so this is just one of the examples of the many companies that produce high volume, regulated documents using our system. Now, this is what we do today. These are the things that we're solving, making sure we quickly get the right communications in people's hands. One of the things that we're going to do throughout the webinar here is we're going to take the time for a few polls. And this is the first one. What is the most critical challenge you face in generating customer communications today? So slow speed, missing SLAs, errors, data management. What is it? Go ahead and answer, and we will see the results of the poll here. I have a message that says host and panelists cannot vote. I think that's very sad. So do we have responses here? All right. Slow speed, data management, and providing better CX to customers are between the two of them are 66%. Yeah, getting the data right, getting the right data in, and managing it is really hard. And I'm going to talk about some of that when we look at our roadmap here at the end. And providing better CX to customers, making sure that not only is the information right, but it also conveys the right tone and the right sentiment so that when people are reading it, they are engaged and are able to accept the message. All right. Next, we're going to start to talk about how AI adds more values to these solutions. We're going to talk about here are the different areas that AI is going to help us attack and make communications better. And I'm going to turn it over to Jesse to talk through these.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Shawn. So Shawn introduced how traditional CCM solutions address some of the biggest challenges and how we communicate with our customers. But let's go beyond that. Let's explore how AI is stepping in to solve just even more pain points. You know, personally, I think this is an exciting time to be working on software. Right now, we have an opportunity. I would say we have an obligation to continue to add value to our customers by introducing these AI solutions. So yeah, let's discuss other challenges that can be solved. So the first up, one of the first challenges is CCM speed to value, getting up and running with a new solution. You know, implementing or migrating to a new CCM platform it's just notoriously time consuming. You know, for instance, you know, Shawn mentioned creating forms and documents often require just a ton of manual effort that just slows down the onboarding process. So creating these forms with the help of AI can change this by allowing our users to upload their existing templates or their Word documents or PDFs and automatically transform each one of those into an interactive form with smart field placements. And that gets you up and running quickly. Another issue is migration. It's another hurdle. It's moving from one legacy CCM solution to a modern one it's just a headache. So I think many organizations have thousands of templates, each with like slight variations, and having to tweak each one of those, it's just a monumental task. But now with the use of AI, we can analyze and convert all of those legacy templates, each with those slight variations, and understand them and identify duplicates and streamline the whole process. So imagine imagine a shipping document template with different regional variations. You need a New Jersey template, you need a California template, you need a Canada template. Instead of all that, AI can streamline all of those 10, 50 legacy templates into one dynamic template, create a regional field, and have it ready to scale. And finally, compliance. Compliance validation is critical and takes a lot of time. Manually reviewing documents to ensure they meet California or EU regulations just takes weeks. Sometimes it can take months. But imagine having an AI that can connect to a third-party compliance database and flag only those documents that need your attention. That's a lot of time saved. So let's go to the next quote. So BCG did a study and reported that 60% of companies have difficulty migrating data to a new CCM platform, and data integrity, like some of you mentioned, is one of the biggest challenges. It's a huge problem, and at MHC we've made a lot of progress reducing migration times from 6 months to 2 months, and by leveraging AI, we can further streamline this process and make it more accurate. So we're working on automatically handling templates and ensuring data accuracy. And this is, a major focus for us because, frankly, it's one of the most significant barriers that organizations face when they're transitioning to a modern solution like EngageCX. So let's go to the next slide. Shawn touched on this, but another challenge is that communications are often they're misunderstood, they're ignored, or forgotten. And sometimes I feel like the AI understands how humans want information more than humans do, because AI transforms how we can send communications by understanding the context of the relationship and then dynamically adjusting that content based on what it knows. And AI can also personalize the tone and the sentiment. These are things that some of us are experts in our day-to-day life. I am not one of them, but it's really challenging to do this consistently across all of your documents and all of your communications across all of your individual customers. But with AI, they can analyze factors like age, education level, the customer's role in a specific company, and craft the communication that resonates specifically to them. So for example, think of like a young audience might prefer text messaging, while professionals may need a formal email. And finally, natural language processing will enable employees to ask questions about their documents and their customer interactions directly. So imagine being able to use a chat agent in your CCM platform and ask, what document does this customer need to provide? Or what has been the value of my account over the last 6 months? So getting those answers to you is what I think AI does best. Let's go to the next slide. So IBM found that organizations who leverage NLP technologies like large language models, for example, see an 80% improvement in clarity and accuracy. I think that's pretty transformative, and at MHC, we're taking this a little further because we're focusing on hyper personalization. It's not just about sending a text or an email. It's about how each individual prefers how they receive that information. So for instance, John from New Hampshire might appreciate a concise bullet pointed email with everything up top as an executive summary, while Michael prefers a detailed official looking document that maybe that he can hold in his hands. So by embedding AI deeply into our platform, we're enabling communication that feels tailor-made. That kind of bespoke communication is going to improve clarity and ultimately drive engagement. Next slide. All right, hard coding logic. This is my favorite problem to solve. A lot of old CCM platforms hard code their logic into their workflows, and that's just no longer sufficient. With AI, we can just be more flexible. We can create smart workflows that make decisions dynamically. So, for example, rather than blocking marketing communication when a customer has an open support ticket, AI can analyze the NPS score. It can analyze survey results. It can read the email and understand the sentiment and determine whether marketing would be effective despite that open ticket. That's going to be possible. AI can also help with routing and timing. It can predict the best channel and the best time to deliver that content. I like to read my emails at 10 a.m. That's my leave me alone time. What are the chances that your email increases my engagement with your company if you know exactly when I sit down to actually read those emails? I think it's pretty high. So this is something that we're focused on and we're working on. Dynamic routing is also, I think, another game changer. You know, imagine AI evaluating your customer data, your interaction history, and the sentiment of your emails, and connect them to the most appropriate person in your company. So think of it, I don't know, imagine a system identifying a customer likely to churn. And proactively addressing their issue. So being that responsive, I think, will transform the customer experience and ultimately drive loyalty to your product or service that you have. Next slide. All right. IBM reports that organizations using AI and CCM document workflows experience up to a 30% productivity boost. And this is due to AI's ability to streamline, document management and predict customers' needs based on their prior interactions. At MHC, we are embedding AI at the core of our platform. We're trying to transform rigid decision trees into dynamic and customer-centric workflows. Think of the traditional TV ads. They were generic and broadly targeted because the data that advertisers had on their audience was also very broad. And now compare that to YouTube or TikTok, where algorithms deliver hyper personalized content. This kind of precision can happen in customer communication. AI can enable that type of precision, and this kind of closeness is what makes an interaction powerful. So beyond just responding to customer needs, we're building a forward-looking customer communication platform. We want to anticipate the needs to enable the next best decision that drives engagement for our customers. And I truly believe that the companies and the individuals who will thrive in 2025 and beyond are those who just act now, who embrace and grow with AI-driven technologies. So I'm going to leave you with two takeaways. First, if you're exploring a CCM solution, prioritize those with that AI at the center of their product roadmap. And second, invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge of AI, learn it today, take a demo with us, be part of the wave that's driving innovation, and don't get left behind. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Shawn to show you how our AI Assist feature is going to tackle some of these challenges in real time. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so thanks, Jesse. So Jesse laid out the big picture. What I'm going to show you first is here are the first things that were done to make it faster to produce documents, to produce forms, and to make sure that the sentiment is right and it's being communicated correctly. So I'm going to show you some of those things that we've already released. And then I'm going to talk about here are the things that are coming soon. So what Jesse covered is here are all the high-level problems we're trying to solve. And I'm going to focus on what we have now and what is coming soon. So organizations adopting AI for document drafting and communication report a 50 to 70% reduction in document preparation time. And I'll show you kind of what we've done with that and where we're going with that, because it tremendously speeds up the ability to go from I have this document thing and I have it in the system ready to go and I can start running and getting things out to customers. So we're going to look at that. Now, there are 4 things that I'm going to talk about here that we've already done. First, accelerating document and content creation. So I'm going to show you about this, but on the left-hand side here, what we're doing right now is we're saying, I need something that is a hospital discharge letter, telling them what services they receive, what's coming up next, what are their prescriptions that they're walking out with, any kind of instructions. So I type that on the left, I hit go, and the AI Assist goes and creates that document. Now, we hit edit, and it takes a little bit to tweak and run and maybe put some branding on there. But what this does is it goes from a blank canvas to I already have all the major pieces in this document that I need to go forward and create. And so it embeds the data fields, it grabs the reusable content and the content fragments and gets you started quickly. And I'll show you part of this because I'm going to show you an example with forms. Translation. Now, many of you in your life may have used Google Translate or other such translation engines, and they produce some good results and they produce some hilarious results from time to time. Fortunately for us, the AI translation engines that we use now are far better, and they're able to understand different nuances and context that you really don't have, you didn't have before. And for a lot of our customers, we work in over 50 countries around the world. That's a lot of different languages. So we have a lot of customers that need to produce documents in different languages. And so what we're able to do is easily say, this is one template, and here are the 5, 6, 7 languages associated with that. So that's not 8 templates we're creating. That's one template with the languages. And what we're doing is streamlining those translation efforts. And I'll show you that here in a second. And this one, Jesse mentioned this a little earlier, adjusting the sentiment and tone of documents to make sure that you're communicating in the right way. Is it positive? Is negative? Is it informational? Do I make it shorter? Do I make it longer? A lot of times making something shorter is harder than making it longer, at least for me. And so what this does is it helps somebody as they're creating the document to make sure that it is speaking at the right level and at the right length for folks. And finally, and I'll show you this, creating interactive forms in minutes. And this is kind of one of the cool things is if you've ever had to create a form to collect data so that you can run a business process, it takes a while. And what we're able to do is say, I need a form that does this. And within 45 seconds, and yes, you're going to be sitting watching for about 45 seconds as It creates the form for us here in a second, but it's going to make it so that instead of taking hours, it's just going to take a few minutes to be able to get that form started. Now, let me show this to you. Ta-da! That is EngageCX. And this is a purchase order letter that I have. And I'm going to hit edit online. And I have this this paragraph here that says, we are requesting that you sign and return this confirmation as a verification of ownership. Well, I'm going to use AI Assist here. And it's like, that's pretty negative. So right here, it looks at the sentiment and goes, that's negative. Well, you're trying to buy something here, and this looks intimidating. So what I can do is let's change that from negative to positive and generate a draft. And so instead of we are requesting, it's now saying we kindly ask that you sign and return the confirmation. Additionally, please including any other relevant documents. And so instead of saying provide these specific things, do this, it adjusts the tone so that when somebody's reading it, it's not intimidating, but it is inviting. And when I hit update, what's going to happen is this is going to rewrite itself. And so instead of having this time trying to figure out, okay, how do I say this? And I send it to Jesse. Jesse, does this sound right? And Jesse's like, no, that still sounds mean. Instead of doing that, I can use AI Assist to get the tone right and the length right. Now, staying with the language theme here, I'm going to click on languages. And right now, this is in English. I think that's obvious because it's in English. But say I have to send this out in Dutch as well. So I click on Dutch, and it goes through and it looks at here are all the different parts. And I can say, well, let's just translate this one piece. And it says, my bankfonds worden gedistribueerd door bankfunds distributor. Lovely. What if I want to do the whole thing? I hit AI, and it will translate all of these things. And what's great here is this abbreviation is just like this abbreviation. So it's bestelnummer is the Dutch word for it. And because this was shortened, it also shortened it over here in the translation. And so the translation is a lot more powerful. Now, if I hit OK, if somebody wants to see this in Dutch, they want to see it in English, they have both options with very little time to have to work through the translations and validate it's already there. So those are the first two things, making sure the writing has the right tone and sentiment. We also have the translation, but I'm also going to show you something here that I have this create with AI button. And we can create all the different things, a web form, a template, an email, a content fragment. We can create all the things. But I'm going to just do a web form here. And I'm going to say, create a web form that is for a car application, include buyer info, car info, and financing info on different. One of my favorite things here is I actually don't have to spell things right. it gets it, but I'll just make sure for fun. I'll click this, and now understand, normally for me to create this would take a long time to create. This little bouncy thing that we're seeing here, it's going to take between 35 and 45 seconds. We've sent this off to our AI. It's going through, oh, there, I guess it's done. So, hey, congratulations. And what it did is it said, I have a form. It has buyer's information, it has the information about my car, and has the information about financing. Now, I just did a quick small example here, but it illustrates the fact that with just describing what type of form I need, I am able to create a form so that now I can tweak it a little and I'm able to publish it within just a few minutes rather than taking hours to figure out and drag things around. It puts the main thing that I need on here so I can save it and get it out the door quickly. So these are some of the things that we've done already, making it easier and faster to create document templates, making sure that the sentiment and tone is right, doing the translations better than translation has been done before. Those are the things that we've done so far. So we're going to do another poll here. Okay. What area would you think AI assessed would bring the most value to you? All right, let's see what people said. Authoring and creating web forms. Between the two of that, that's most of it. And that's where we started our efforts to make it easier to author documents and make it easier to create those web forms so that it's not as cumbersome. And Jesse talked about this when he was going through some of the challenges that AI can solve. We started with, let's make it faster or easier and faster to get started. And that's what we did. All right. So that's what we've done. This is already out there. Here's what we're doing. This is my coming soon slide. So these are the things that are coming soon. So we did form creation. We did document and communications creation, writing optimization, and translation. That's great. Now we're going to work on data model creation, because remember that data management was one of the key things that is a frustration and is hard. We are going to make it so that I can use natural language to say, I need to take from this data source, and these are the fields, and it's going to map to these places in my document. We're going to describe that. So instead of this dragging and dropping and moving things together, which we have this amazing data modeling tool, we're going to allow people to start by describing the data they need to get them started right away, and then they can tweak it. The next thing, and this is amazing, and I've already seen a preview of this, is document form creation via file upload. I take this PDF form, I hit upload, and within 45 seconds, that form is now a web form that I can use. It's just so cool. We're working on some of the formatting things right now, but that's amazing. The same thing with documents. I have this letter that we send out that says it is, a loan approval letter. If it's a PDF, I can upload that PDF, That then goes in, looks at the PDF, the AI says, and it creates a document template that I can use. 35, 45 seconds, just like you saw with the form creation, it will create that for you so that it's not, let me retype, let me copy and paste. It comes in. That is coming soon. Workflow creation. I saw an example of this the other day where a lot of times what happens is you are getting data from a form and then you're putting that into a template and then you're attaching it to an email and you're sending that email out to people. Well, what if I can say, grab the data from this form, put it in this document template, and attach that template to the email and send it to the person of the email address in the form. That's what we're going to do with our workflows. We type it in, it will create it, then you can tweak it. But what that does is using just natural language, you're able to get started and then tweak rather than starting with a blank canvas. And one of my favorite ones that's coming is content summarization. So TLDR is one of my favorite sayings. I get a monstrous email and I'm like, do I want to read this all? I guess I have to. But I like to understand. So I'll take that and put it into something. I say, please summarize this for me so I can see, okay, what are the most important points in this? And a lot of companies do that. What we're going to be doing for people is making it so that when you get a large document, you'll be able to ask, what is the summary? So what are the balances in say this is a statement, what are the balances? If it's some kind of notice, what are the most important pieces in this notice? So we're going to make it so that even though we're sending out those 30-page documents that I was talking to you about with the finance company, that a financial company that I talked about earlier, I can be able to click and say, give me the summary of what's in there so that they either know they want to open it or they get all the details without having to open it. So these are the coming soon things. Jesse showed you the big things. Here are all the problems we're trying to solve with AI. These things right here, these are the things that are coming soon in EngageCX. So that's the end of the presentation today, which was, this is CCM, this is how AI can transform CCM, and this is what we're doing with EngageCX. I'm going to pass this back to Sharon so that we can answer a couple questions.
Okay, thanks, Shawn. Yeah, at this time, a couple questions for you. Either Jesse or Shawn, just feel free to jump in. The first one is about, how there's so much discussion around AI, and some of it sounds fluffy, some of it sounds really, really far off. How do you figure out what is real and practical, kind of less hype, something you can use today?
Good question. I can answer that one. There are plenty of solutions out there with a ton of AI capabilities to some degree, but ultimately, I think if something is actually useful, if something is actually valuable, that's how you can determine between the hype and the fluff. It needs to be a specific solution for your problem. It's not a generic GPT, or it's not a generic like way of interacting with a large language model. The best solutions out there will be hyper personalized to your problem that you want to solve. So that's why we're focused on embedding AI, not just as an agent where you can chat with, but it's creating things for you. It's understanding things for you, and ultimately it's putting all of this together, understanding the data behind the templates and the structures and the workflows and the data models. All of that will eventually bring us into a place where a general AI will be able to understand the interactions between the company which is our customer, and the customer that they have. So exciting times that we're living in. I will say also that what we build today, we will have to rebuild in a year because everything is getting faster and faster. And so you want to ensure that you're working with a company who, one, sees that, and two, is thinking about it, because this is an exciting acceleration point that is exponential.
Great, thank you so much. The next one's about personalization because we all know it's important for better engagement. So can you talk more about how AI can contribute more in terms of personalization of these communications?
Yeah, I can take that one. So personalization has had a bad name a little bit. Instead of because a lot of times people are like, oh, that's creepy. How does it know that about me? Kind of deal. But personalization also is understanding the context and the tone, understanding that if, say, I have a statement and my balances have gone up, well, then that is a positive experience in the tone I can set for the language is one. If my balances have gone down, well, let's not do a positive tone. Let's make it so that it's concerned, understanding, and adjust the content so that it says, hey, the historically it has gone back up, or over the last 5 years you're up, but yes, this last quarter you were down. So understanding the context and adjusting the tone and sentiment. So it's not saying, hey, Jesse, it is saying, hey, this is what's going on with your account. And if it's positive, we have one message. If it's not as positive, we have another message and have another set of help that isn't just if then else. It looks at the context and it adjusts not just the data points, but the sentiment and direction and the next best action for the customer.
Okay, that's very exciting. Thanks, Shawn. All right, last one. In terms of, incoming communications, Jesse touched a little bit about on content summarization, but in terms of those incoming communications, is there something coming to help AI with these?
Yeah, I think this is an exciting part of AI. AI can definitely help with communication from our customers, or from your customers, I should say. Ultimately, it's all about data, right? We as people we have a limited capacity of understanding our individual customers. We can only read so many emails, understand that context, and see what kind of sentiment the customer has. We can only think to capture NPS scores, or do all these things that would give you a good understanding what the customer is thinking. But it's still very manual. They're all in different systems, and you have to kind of create a picture in your brain. I believe that AI is really great at communicating, but it's even better at listening. So listening to all those data points is I think one area of AI that hasn't been fully leveraged yet. So I'm excited to continue to explore this, to gather as much of that data as possible, to create a comprehensive view of the customer, and overall get them to engage a little bit better with how we communicate after. So exciting times.
Yeah, agree. Thank you so much. So I'm going to just wrap up our session today. Those are the end of our questions. I want to thank you both for being here and discussing this and introducing us to areas where AI is having a real impact on creating and managing customer communications. And very exciting to see how you're going to be progressing in 2025 and ahead. So thank you also to all of our attendees today for joining. Shown on the screen is our our AI assist caricature. So if you go to our website, look for our AI assist page, you can watch a video with him, and It's very insightful as well, and it'll kind of summarize some of the things you heard today. But as we close, be reminded that we're going to be sending you an email with the link to the recording. So please share it, watch it again. There's going to be a short survey as you exit. So please don't pass it by. Take a moment. Just this feedback is so important to us. And finally, we ask if you wouldn't mind subscribing to our social feed. We have ongoing webinars coming down. You can see them on our website on the webinar page, or you'll hear about them through social. We have another one planned for December the 12th with expert Lois Ritterossi, who's going to be talking directly to print service providers and those within house print and mail, sharing some strategies for dealing with existing challenges and how to satisfy customers today while driving those profits to fund future innovation. And we would love to have you join us. So please check out those resources and register. And until then, thank you again for attending today. Enjoy the rest of your day.